Okay, I wanted to talk about something slightly off topic today. I've often talked about myself being against abortion, and I've often used the abortion discussion on the same page as the gun discussion, because I find some people are pro-gun and pro-abortion, some people are anti-gun and anti-abortion. But I find some people are pro-abortion and anti-gun, to the point where they make the stupidest sense in the world, where they say, like Andrew Cuomo, for instance, who said too many innocent people have died, meaning about guns, and that is true. A lot of innocent people have been killed by guns, most often by governments who take guns away from people and then turn governments on the people. But Andrew Cuomo said too many innocent people have died from gun violence. Forget about knife violence, fist violence, baseball bat violence, only gun violence. And then a minute later, he talked about legalizing the murder of babies. Literally a minute later. And I'm like, you want me to go to jail because I own a gun that you think looks scary? Or if I were to buy a gun with a pistol grip on it, you would agree to send police to my house to take it by force under pain of felony arrest. Yet, you demand that someone have a right to abort a baby even a minute before the baby is born. And the abortion argument started out with the gun argument. A little bit here, then a little bit more, then a little bit more, then a little bit more. The abortion argument, first of all, abortion itself has been in practice since well over almost 100 years, roughly. Maybe even more than that. The issue is, it was underground for many decades until it was legalized in most countries. But the argument was, listen, what if a woman is raped and doesn't want to have a rapist baby? Or what if a victim has cancer and when abortion was legalized, a lot of guys died from cancer. There was very few cancer survivors in the early 1970s. What if a woman has cancer and she needs treatment to get rid of her cancer and she's pregnant? You got to abort the baby to have take the cancer out. Well, that makes up less than 1% of all abortions. Okay? Second, if a woman is 9 months pregnant and she has cancer, like my friend's sister, who I don't know her, but I don't know the sister. My friend's sister had a tumor on the base of her spine, and she was about 8 or 9 months pregnant. And their family's very pro-life. They rushed her to the hospital, put her on her stomach. They rushed her to the hospital, put her on her back, took the baby out, put her on her stomach, took the tumor out. The baby is fully developed, so just take the baby out. Not a big deal. We had a woman this past winter who was backed over by a snow plowing vehicle of some kind. She was critically injured and she later died. What do? They take the baby out alive. So this concept of we need to have an abortion legal to the last minute because the woman might have cancer, that's just stupid. Just take the baby out alive. It's ridiculous. What if a woman is raped? Well, give her the abortion in the first 4 months, not the last month. So it's the abortion discussion has gotten to the point where in Illinois, people have testified under oath that 9-month abortion, baby's fully developed, you take the baby out of the woman's womb by accident because you got the 9-month pregnant woman, you try to kill the baby inside of her, the baby comes out alive, and they literally throw the living baby in the garbage because the baby was scheduled for abortion. Yeah. Or an abortion assistant once testified, one method of late-term abortion, the chief abortionist holds a spiked instrument, and she, the assistant abortionist, would reach into the woman's womb, rip the baby out, head first obviously, and they would force the baby onto the spiked instrument. To put that into perspective, there are Auschwitz survivors who have not testified to that kind of brutality. There are arguments coming out of the abortion clinics that are worse than Holocaust stories, worse than Ted Bundy stories, worse than Joseph Mengele. For God's sake, Joseph Mengele wasn't as bad as some abortionists are today. So the concept is you're taking it too far. Okay, you're getting ridiculously to the point where you're actually murdering fully developed babies, murdering babies outside of the womb. So the point is, you just want to fucking murder babies. Okay, and I'm not gonna tolerate that. That's why I speak out against it a lot. Okay, a woman's got cancer, she needs an abortion, fine. But you want to take the baby out of the womb, fully developed, and impale him or her on a spike. If that's not evil, evil has no meaning. Another aspect is that my family church in Newark, New Jersey, is St. Lucy's. Now, some churches have a saint they're named after, and a second saint, which is the patron saint. Now, the patron saint of my family's church is Saint Gerard Maiello, an Italian brother who died when America was still in the colonial period. There was no abortion back then. But because he is the patron saint of expectant mothers, the patron saint of pregnancy, the patron saint of motherhood in general, he has been adopted as the patron saint of the pro-life movement. Okay? So I cannot belong to this church and claim him as a patron and say, yeah, I support abortion. The saint I pray to is for mothers, but you should kill your baby when you're 9 months pregnant. Okay? That's like O.J. Simpson saying you shouldn't beat your wife. Okay? It's hypocrisy. Now, where was I a minute before I was born? Because some guys want abortion and they call women's health care women's choice. Well, like Andrew Cuomo, if a woman chooses to have babies, a woman chooses to be against abortion, she's an extremist and needs to leave the state. But if a woman chooses to have the abortion when she's 9 months pregnant, that's her right. Also, women's health care. Women's health care is mammograms, pap smears, gynecology. Okay? A woman's health care is not you killing a baby and saying her rights to justify it, okay? Hitler killed Jews. He said it was his right. Okay? Hitler had a right to kill Jews. Okay? So when you're saying I have a right to kill babies, you're basically saying the same thing Hitler said. You're just saying, well, I'll replace Jew with baby. That's basically what you're doing in some cases. Now, before I was born, my mother wasn't scheduling a late-term abortion. Before I was born, my mother was laying in a hospital bed, holding the gynecologist's hand, praying to God that she and I would survive, because I was stuck. My head was actually stuck in her contraction, and that's why my fingers are messed up in this hand a little bit. A lot of my fans noticed that. That's the reason, because I took a clock to the head. My mother personally did nothing wrong at all. She wasn't drinking, doing drugs. Okay, she wasn't punching herself in the stomach. My mother did not do anything specifically wrong at all. She just tried to have me in. A freak accident happened. Okay, and it was not her fault at all. But the gynecologist knew that he needed to wait for the right minute to extract me alive. So I was the baby in distress. And the doctor who my mother had hired was figuring out ways to get me out alive. He was not figuring out how to kill me. Okay, and if it wasn't for that man, see, a lot of people are like, what is your life worth? Does your life affect my life? If I were to die when I was born, history would be different. Okay? The history of my hometown would be different. My existence on this planet has altered the history of my town for the better. I have saved no less than 6 people's lives. It's definitely higher than that. I have kept scores of people more out of the hospital avoiding everything from a broken toe to blunt force trauma. I have saved people from suffering debilitating injuries to the point where they would have a walker or have a metal rod in their leg or be paralyzed, have severe brain trauma. Okay, there are a lot of people in this world who are better off because of me. And the issue is, what if that doctor, instead of trying to get me out alive, decided how to impale me on a friggin' spike? Okay, that man altered the history of this town forever. Okay? I cannot begin to tell you how many accidents I've had. Now, there's another thing that my belief has done. Okay? I am responsible as a crossing guard for children up to 8th grade. Once you hit freshman year in high school, bye. And I have a whole bunch of 8th graders walking around. What grade are you? 8. Okay, 9. After that, you're done. You're an 8th grader? Yeah. Okay, next year you're done. You're an 8th grader? Yeah. Okay, I'm done with you after next year. One more month of you when I'm out, I'm done with you. Next year you set yourself on fire. No. I don't gotta hold their hands anymore. I don't gotta escort them anymore. You're a freshman in high school. You're on your own. Goodbye. But here's the joke. For every one kid I send to high school, 2 more born. You gotta see this neighborhood I work in. You gotta come down and look at the neighborhood. Okay? Every other woman has the belly. And they got 3 and 4 kids already on top of that. And you know what? That's fine. That's their choice. They choose to have babies. Albeit, I hate guys that are like children's book authors that are pro-choice. Elementary school teachers that are pro-choice. You're voting yourself out of a job, basically. So a lot of the women have the belly showing, usually in the springtime, April, May, June, etc. And in September, when I come back, I'm going to have all the babies. I'm on this corner here. Now, there's 4 corners, okay? Bird's eye view. This corner, if you're flying as a bird going up this way, this corner on what is your lower right is an abandoned building that burned down, had a bad fire over the summer. Used to be an apartment building and a barn and a laundromat. This over here on what is your lower left is an auto shop. Directly across from the auto shop is a driving instructor, so when you crash the car, you just bring it to the auto shop. And directly across from, in your upper right corner over here, if you're from your point, upper right corner, will be a pharmacy. I'm here. This is the secondary road coming up this way. This is the primary road going across this way. And here is a massive hill in between the bar and the auto shop, massive hill. Now, a woman is coming across the main road. She brought her son to school. She walks down the street, not across the street, brings him to school, comes back around, comes down the hill, and is by me. She's at least 7.5 months. She's like Jagunda. This is May 2nd, this past month. I'm by the bar, just hanging out, and no one's in sight. She's at the foot of the hill on the opposite side, going across Main Street. I run across to her. Now, here's what you have to do. You have to wait for either a green light with no car coming for a mile to run across, or a red light to go across. Well, wait. So you're not running into the road, stopping cars, no. What are you there for? Well, the intersection traffic. When you got red, you're crossing on red, the car on green is driving, he or she might turn, and you gotta keep the kid from the intersection. So, if the intersection is here, on my left, the kid is on my right, or whoever, elderly or disabled person is on my right. If the intersection is on my right, they're on my left, so I protect them from I would physically be in danger before them. You're basically putting yourself in danger to protect someone else's child or an elderly person, yes. Now, also, some guys don't want to stop for the light, or they see the yellow and they jam the gas and go flying. And it turns red, and they don't give a damn. They're in the middle of the road already. So this woman is pregnant, and because I am pro-life, I consider her baby to be a human being, and I consider that to be my charge. So I go across the street, and I stand right next to the people. One lady sitting with her kid, she said, You're the only crossing guard in the city, because I've seen others that stand that close to us. I stand right up against, and I put my right arm up so that you're here, my arm is here, so that I can grab you if I have to, which does come in handy, believe me it does. So I'm walking across this woman, car's coming forward, he doesn't want to stop for the light, he plows through the intersection. I, with my arm in place, put my hand on her and I shove her, sort of, not the big hard shove, but enough of a shove to keep her back. And I have the sign and I lunge in front of the intersection and I hold the car. And I put my arm around her, hug her, and I run her across and I yell at the guy, "Oh!" Then I get to the intersection, and right now I'm with her by where the auto shop, by where the driving school is, and she walks up the block to her house, wherever she lives. On this side of the block, you have the pharmacy, and these are old apartment buildings. You have an apartment building, and in the lobby is a store. One guy, he lives in the building by the pharmacy. Back in September, I saved his son from being killed. Different story, different day, but I did. So now I'm walking across from the pharmacy to the abandoned building now. So from your upper right to your lower right. Hands me a cup of coffee. Get on the corner, hand me a cup of coffee, and bring the cup of coffee. Woman had to bring her three older kids to school, come back with her baby. She's coming across from your lower left to your lower right, and I'm running around her, drinking the coffee. Sorry about this. The guy gave me a cup of coffee. They said his son's life, blah, 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 blah. So now I'm back over here by where the abandoned building is, and up here is the pharmacy. Woman and her son are coming across. Guy coming this way, I yell at him, "Stop!" He stops. Red light. I walk into the intersection. The guy coming this way, so it's from your left to your right, he's coming across. He almost plows into the woman and the kid. The woman is standing with her body out to the intersection and her kid in here, like I would do. I ran in front and halted him. I held the sign up so that if he came forward, the sign would crash into his windshield. So he had to stop. That's like a last resort thing, right? I hold the sign in front of your car, so if you don't stop, you crash into the fucking sign. That's last resort, but you know what? If I gotta damage your car to save someone's life, then tell someone who cares. I don't give a damn. And he almost plowed into her and her son. And I got the cup of coffee in the hand, got the stop sign in the hand, and I'm hollering at him. "Yeah, you jerk." I was like, "You son of-" I was cursing him. I was like really losing my temper with him. She said she would have got killed. I said, "You wouldn't have got killed, you would have got messed up though." Now, did I save her life and her kid's life? Probably. I saved 3 people from going to the hospital within 5 minutes. The mother, the pregnant woman, definitely would have lost her baby. Her baby was being born because of me. If it was not for me, that woman would have spent Mother's Day in the hospital with a dead baby. And about 5 minutes after all that happened, a police cruiser was coming from your point of view, it's up, coming down, he's coming, yeah. And a man is coming across the main road, and he wants to beat the light. I'm on the sidewalk on the corner, I see the police officer coming, and I say, "Halt!" He stops, officer goes through. If he did not stop, he and the officer would have hit. Would they have been killed? Probably not. Would they have been injured? Yes. Would I have to find some way to get a dispatcher to send someone else to the officer's scene? Probably. If the officer was not able to radio themselves, I probably had to go on radio for help. But this officer would have hit a car and not been able to respond to wherever he was going. Traffic incident, could have been an accident, it could have been a burglary report. He could have responded to anything. Now, if I was not pro-life, like I am, I would not view that woman's baby as a child. I would view it as just a lump of stuff in her stomach. Just fattening. And I would have been standing on the corner, not doing anything, just standing there, oblivious, just walking around, looking around, whatever. And that car would hit the woman. My being pro-life is the reason why that woman has a baby today. Otherwise, she would have got hit by the car. She would have lost the baby. Or the baby would have been, assuming the baby was, I believe she would have lost the baby because that car was coming fast. But she would have either lost the baby or the baby would have been severely disabled. But I'm like 99% sure the baby would have been gone. She would have been messed up too. And she would have spent Mother's Day in the hospital. And imagine how her other child would feel. The woman that I saved 5 minutes later, she's got a daughter in junior high school and a son in high school. How would they feel with their mother in the hospital, their brother in the hospital, probably really bad injured? Now, the Friday before Mother's Day, in the afternoon, I'm like, oh, that's right, Sunday's Mother's Day. Okay, that's right, Sunday's Mother's Day. In the afternoon, I see the pregnant woman again with her son. And she's got a little pod plant that he made in school. The kids make little things for their mothers in school. I'm like, oh, that's right, Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. So she was the first person this year that I wished Happy Mother's Day to. It's amazing. And when I go back in the fall and I see the woman's baby, I'll know. So, that's basically it. And that's the story.